Coming up on Mountain News this morning, we reflect on the journey to recovery of a region it's been dealing with since the deadly flooding. And dozens of volunteers work to help the homeless population in a Kentucky city, which includes men and women who serve our country.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning to you. It's Friday and it's almost 5 o'clock. I'm Dakota Makris. Thanks so much for waking up with us on this cold Friday. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast. Brandon, it's cold in here. It's cold outside. I cannot warm up. Oh my goodness.
It's a little bit chilly outside this morning.
A little bit.
Still got our snow going across parts of the area as well. So we're going to continue our first alert weather day for a little bit longer. See how it plays out this morning. We'll end it either at 7 or 9. We'll get you through the morning drive first. We'll just see how the snow works. But satellite radar for the last little bit, you see still some snow bands up toward the I-64 and Mountain Parkway corridor. So we're still watching that, and a couple other snowflakes still flying out there. I actually passed a couple coming in on my way to work this morning. So just be careful across the region. You could have some slick spots in several locations as you head out the door. Live pinpoint Doppler radar, some over into parts of West Virginia and the Big Sandy, some up near the I-64 corridor between Moorhead and Ashland, and then along the Mountain Parkway corridor as you come down toward McGoffin County. So just be careful across the region. Here is I-64 right now this morning, and you'll see still some snow-covered roads up there, so continue to be careful. It is 28 there with visibility pretty good. The snow squall is starting to move by. Just take it easy on all the roads across the mountains this morning, especially if they're wet, and the dew point is 25. Temperatures across the rest of the region below freezing everywhere this morning. Grundy, Prestonsburg, Manchester, and Monticello. Actually, I told a fib again. Harlan is at 32, so the next closest are those 31s I mentioned in Grundy, Prestonsburg, Manchester, Monticello, and Ashland. Okay, that's our warmest spots in the region this morning. Wind's still cranking a little bit, so it's going to make it feel colder out there this morning. Anywhere between 5 and 7 miles per hour consistently. So a little extra to max warm you need on your coffee meter this morning. The good news is after the snow moves out, the sun moves in, and it's going to stick around for the first part of the weekend. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, Saturday makes 6 months since historic flooding hit our region. Since July 28th, we've covered countless stories of those who lost their homes, belongings, and even the stories of the 44 Eastern Kentuckians who died as the result of the disaster. We begin this morning by focusing on people who are rebuilding and moving into new homes, as well as how community members have relied on one another to move forward. This is what Ken and Gloria Sloan saw outside of their Knott County home during the early morning hours of July 28th. Water rushing, inching closer to their home.
By that time, we just didn't know what to do, you know.
You kind of wonder, when is the water going to stop rising? You know, is it just going to keep going?
I visited their home in late August as crews helped them repair the inside of their house, essentially gutting part of the structure, leaving the family to live in a small room.
They're about to get the living room done. They're doing some drywall. They got the floors down, and they're working on the kitchen.
Changed from what it was.
Nearly 6 months later, the family and their dog Gibbs showed me around their home. It has new floors, a kitchen, and bedrooms.
We lived in here for the first 5 weeks, and then we kind of transitioned back and forth. To say it was completely done, about 2 weeks ago, because we got our furnace put in.
The Sloans tell me it was organizations like the Christian Appalachian Project, their family, and strangers who helped them rebuild.
If we hadn't got the help we got from everybody, I don't think we'd still been, we'd still been working one room at a time, and financially that would have been difficult.
Back in August, Gloria and Ken said God blessed them with the help. They still feel that way months later.
There's a lot of people we know still struggling, and we pray for them all the time, because that's what it's going to take. And there's a lot of people, there's good people out there that do help, and just don't give up.
Yeah.
In Knott County, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News. Well, the Sloans say they still have some work to do on the outside of their home, but the things that are left are projects to be done this summer. Well, the Sloans are not the only Eastern Kentuckians back in their home after the flood. During his Team Kentucky update yesterday, Governor Andy Beshear said 235 families are still in travel trailers. That number is down by 8 from last week. 145 families have transitioned out of the Commonwealth sheltering program. And for more than 5 months, Kate Clemens has made it her job to make sure the people of Knott County have a hot meal each day. Starting as a food tent and recently transitioning into a nonprofit, she says it has turned out to be something much more than food.
I would never have dreamed 6 months out from the flood that I would still be doing this and that it would have turned from a pop-up tent into a nonprofit, establishing a food bank. I just can't imagine where God will take this program in the next 6 months. Like, I have so much hope and faith for Knott County, and I'm just really excited for it.
Clemens says she will continue helping the people of Knott County for as long as she sees a need. And this week, dozens of volunteers work to help the homeless population in Lexington, including veterans. Veterans Affairs Lexington Healthcare is offering up resources for homeless vets in need, especially during the winter. The entire VA is working together to accommodate veterans, whether it be food, health care, transportation, or housing.
I think winter, you see quite a few veterans, but we're really out there and we're working hard to kind of make sure they're sheltered and they're getting the housing that they need.
Last year, VA Lexington Healthcare exceeded expectations. The goal was to help about 200 veterans, but it eclipsed that number. Well, this is the last day to help Kentucky win the annual Big Blue Slam blood drive. Kentucky is trailing Florida fans by just one. Yesterday, UK students and workers rolled up their sleeves to give blood inside the Gatton Student Center. The goal of this blood drive is to boost the winter blood supply. Eric Lindsay with the Kentucky Blood Center says winter is a difficult time for donations. He says the center would like to have 400 donors a day to have a good supply of blood on hand.
The bottom line number for us is we'd like to have a 3 to 4 day supply of our different blood types, and too often for the last 3 years, we've a lot of our blood types we've only had a day supply.
Well, there are 8 centers in 6 cities across the state where you can donate. You can make an appointment on the KBC website. Well, thank you so much for getting your Friday morning started with the Sierra Mountain News this morning. Coming up, a Minnesota couple begins a unique museum to preserve and honor part of their state's chili history. That story's on the way next.
And so we'll continue for a little bit this morning, but the sunshine is on the way later. I'll have the latest forecast in about 3 minutes.